Hello, and welcome to Film Funding Insights, your go-to podcast for everything about financing, distributing, and producing independent films. Today, we're diving into the new changes announced by Indiegogo that will directly affect filmmakers and creative projects. Whether you're planning your next crowdfund campaign, in the middle of one, or just exploring your options, you'll want to hear this. Let's get started. Segment 1. Why Indiegogo matters for filmmakers. For years, Indiegogo has been one of the more flexible crowdfunding platforms for creative projects, especially in film. Unlike platforms that restrict you to perks or physical products, Indiegogo allows more experimental models, equity, revenue shares, or hybrid models, depending on region and rules. For independent filmmakers, it served as a useful tool both for launching a project and validating an audience before investors or distributors come on board. But in October 2025, Indiegogo announced several updates that shift the landscape quite noticeably. Some are small adjustments. Some have big implications, especially around fees, campaign control, funding types, and creative rights. Segment 2. Overview of the changes. Let's break down the key changes that every filmmaker should be aware of. 1. Fee restructuring. Indiegogo is revising its fee tiers for creative campaigns. Some projects may now face higher platform fees, especially if they rely heavily on add-ons or stretch goals. Filmmakers will need to calculate more carefully whether their margin supports it. 2. Expanded funding models, with caveats. Indiegogo is supporting more flexible funding models. For example, some markets will allow revenue sharing or equity-based campaigns, but it's not global. There are new restrictions depending on where you are, what legal entity you use, and local securities laws. 3. More control over campaign enforcement. Indiegogo is tightening how exaggerations or changes to campaign scope are handled. If you change your perks or timeline mid-campaign without communication, you may face warnings or restrictions. Transparency is more critical than ever. 4. Intellectual property and ownership clauses. They've added terms around who owns the rights to creative content created during a campaign. Some clauses might give Indiegogo limited rights to promotional use. Filmmakers must read more carefully and negotiate if needed. 5. Tiered access special features for verified projects. Indiegogo is rolling out new, verified filmmaker project status in some territories, giving access to better analytics, promotional support, or reduced fees. But you'll need to satisfy eligibility, track record, budget thresholds, documentary versus fiction classification, etc. 6. Deadline enforcements and campaign extensions. Campaign extensions used to be more flexible. Now, certain campaign durations are restricted or need early approval. Also, more scrutiny is placed on whether extensions match original funding commitments. Segment 3. What filmmakers should do now. So, if you're planning a film campaign or reevaluating how you run it, here's your checklist. Recalculate your budget, including possible higher fees and limited margin for add-ons. Check which funding models are legal in your country, e.g., equity models may not be allowed everywhere. Read the new terms of service carefully, especially the sections on IP, campaign changes, and ownership of content. Aim for Indiegogo's verified project status. If available in your area, build your track record. Be transparent with your backers, especially if you need to change perks or timelines. Have legal fallback plans. Ensure your contracts with cast, crew, and service providers protect your control over all deliverables. Monitor competitors' campaigns under the new rules to see trends in perk structure, stretch goals, and marketing strategies. Segment 4. Possible risks and opportunities. Opportunities. Verified filmmaker perks can help reduce costs and increase exposure. Flexible models might let you offer revenue share to backers, attracting a different class of supporters. Tighter enforcement may reduce unscrupulous campaigns and raise overall backer confidence. Risks. Higher fees might eat into budget margins. especially for smaller films. New IP terms could dilute your control over marketing or future licensing. Legal complexities around equity/revenue sharing might discourage newcomers or lead to compliance issues. Backers may be more cautious when campaigns shift or deviate. That wraps up our breakdown of the 2025 Indiegogo changes for filmmakers. If you're heading into your next campaign, keep these updates in mind. Build careful financial buffer and engage your audience with clarity and trust. I'm curious, if you've run a campaign recently, how do you feel these changes might affect your strategy? Drop me a message or leave a comment, and we'll discuss it in an upcoming episode. Thanks for listening to Film Funding Insights. Until next time, keep creating, keep raising, and keep pushing forward. This program was produced by Cinebacker, the Filmmakers crowdfunding platform set up by filmmakers for filmmakers.